6 years old and my parents lived here. I was all the way in India. Let's take him to the greatest place on earth. He took us to Disney World. To Disney World? To Roswell, New Mexico. I think I really became like an atheist.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, there's no God. I just had so much doubt. I knew. I was like, I'm going to pursue a church again. Like, let me just try it one more time. Let me see.
Yeah.
So like, I'm more myself because in college I was just like, I'm going to do me. Like, if you don't like it, there's a dozen other people who I could just be friends with. Like, and I already changed my major my 4th year in college. Whether it's in a lab or it's in a clinic or like it's a, corporate, whatever it is, I'm going to get a job. I had to look at it like what's going to make me grow the most, and it was going to be Dallas. So my first year of real estate was really hard. Why doesn't no one believe in me? And I had 2 people who really believed in me, and it was my mom and my brother, and they really, really kept me going. Like, you can kiss your career goodbye, like in real estate. It really, you have to pursue social media. So I just did it, and I think through that, people knew me, and through that, it really just worked.
So hello and welcome back to my podcast. I'm KG, the host. This is my next episode. I'm so excited for you guys coming back and joining us. I'm with a special guest today who has a lot of experience in real estate and just other fun things. And so I want you to meet my friend, Hita Bhakta.
Hi.
Hello. All right. So today, we're going to just get to know Hita. I have known her for a little bit of time. We haven't really been in touch since this year until this year. But we're both from Roswell.
Yeah.
So I want to hear a little bit about you and where you grew up and just a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I grew up in Roswell. I moved here when I was about like 4-ish. I went to like Noah's Ark, and then when I was like in the 2nd grade, I moved to Gateway. And that was really fun. I really enjoyed it because it was so much smaller. And so I went to boarding school in the 1st grade in India. And it was awful. Like, it was so bad. But I just thought like a boarding school was like a sleepover, like with all your friends, like all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fun. And it was like a wake up call. Like the first night I was like, get me out of here. And like, you can't leave because you've already signed up. Like, you've already paid the tuition.
How old were you?
I was 6. I was 6 years old. And my parents lived here in Roswell, New Mexico. And I was all the way in India.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was the plan for you to stay over there? Like,
no, my parents didn't even want me to go.
oh, okay.
But I was the one who was like, no, I want to go. Like, I want to hang out with my friends. Because I didn't really have a lot of friends in the U.S. Like, all my friends were in India.
Were you born in India?
Yeah, I was born in India.
Okay.
And they made us, like, go back a lot when we were kids.
Okay.
Which we're really grateful for, like, me and my
Yeah.
brother. Because now we're able to, like, speak both of the languages really well. And
What's
we can, like,
the
communicate.
language?
It's Hindi and then Gujarati.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering that because I saw it on your bio and I was like, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah. It's really nice, too, because it's really paid off for us. Like, especially, like, work-wise as well. More so me than for my brother. And it's really, like, when people see that, they're like, oh, my gosh, like, she can speak in this language. Like, immediately they're like, contact.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. So
that is awesome.
It's been really, really nice. And then I think I was there. I wasn't even there for a full year. Like, I didn't even finish 1st grade because it sucked.
You're 6 years old living alone?
Yeah, it sucked.
Oh, my God.
I put in everything.
Yeah,
I'm like
me
a
too.
garlic girl.
You're a garlic girl? Yeah. I'm an onion girl. See, I'm like, it has to have like, you have to let it saute for a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So good.
I don't know how you did that.
No. So then I think I cried to my parents like once over the phone and I was like, get me out of here. And so my dad literally like flew down and he was like, I'm going to like come get her.
I'm going to come and get you.
He's like, I'm going to come get this girl. Like, she's suffering. So
that's good.
Yeah. So then he came and got me. My brother was also at a boarding school. I went to an all girls boarding school and my brother went to an all boys, but he didn't really mind it. Like, he liked it. So he stayed for 2 years and then we came back here. And as soon as we came back, my dad was like, oh, they've suffered so much. Let's take him to the greatest place on earth. He took us to Disney World. So imagine, like, I go from this, like, asylum to, like, Disney World to Roswell, New Mexico. Like, it was a
so
cultural
funny.
shock. Like,
that is crazy.
Like, I was like, this is America.
Super
This
American.
is great.
You're like, wow, is this what America is like?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
Yeah. And then we came to Roswell and I was like, can we go back like this?
I want to go to Disney World. Yeah.
we came back, and then we looked at a few schools, and then my parents ultimately decided that they wanted to put me in private. So I got put into Gateway. And that's where I really started to, learn about who God was. Like, I didn't even know who Christ was. I remember in the second grade when they were telling us the story of Moses, I thought it was so good. And I was like, why is this not a Disney movie? Like,
yeah, some of them, I'm like, Disney movies, they make you cry because you're like, I don't know,
And it was just crazy because I just thought that they were just stories. I didn't know they were real. And so I think like second, third grade, fourth grade just went on thinking like, okay, whatever, like this is fake. This is just like storytelling. Yeah. And then it wasn't until the fifth grade where I was like, oh, I think this is real. Yeah. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is a religion. Like this is what people believe in. And it's because I saw adults like also listening to the same stories. So I was like, oh, okay, like it's not just storytelling. It's not like a kid's book. So I started to go more and more, even in middle school, like so many people were going their own ways. They were discovering like new things, like, new idols to pursue or whatever it may be. And I was just like, no, like this is it. Like, so I really was like the good girl, like throughout high school. Yeah. Like I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. I was going to get into college. I knew I was going to get in, but I didn't know if I was going to get into like an out of state college. Yeah. And that was big for when
for
I
your
was,
school. And
stuff. And so it was really hard. And, I wasn't really sad at all, like, because I knew I had the Holy Spirit. Yeah. And so I really, even though I really felt like I didn't have a lot of friends, it didn't really matter because I had God.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. And like now, today, do you still like rely on God and stuff like that? Or what does it look like now into your adulthood?
Yeah. So that's like where it gets really tricky. Yeah. So like my freshman year, I had a lot of, obstacles to overcome. Because when you go to college, there's no safety net. There's nobody that's like, oh, let me hold your hand. Let me make sure you go to, Bible study. There's nothing. Like you go to college and then you come back home. Or you go to your dorm, So I had a lot of things that happened with my family, like a lot of family problems that really affected the way I believed in God. Like, like I had some family issues, like where my dad had left. God doesn't want to be there for me. Yeah. Like he's just, it's fake. Like I really was like.
I get that.
And then even in college, like I remember my first day in biology, they basically said, they were like, evolution is the only way. And if you don't believe in evolution, like they're basically, you're an idiot. Yeah. So you're like, oh, okay. Like, am I an idiot? Yeah. Like, is this real? Like, I don't understand. And I went to school in Colorado. There's not a lot of Christians in Colorado. And there's not a lot of people who are, there's really the modern Christian where it's like, okay, you can be Christian, but you don't have to show it. Yeah. That's the kind of Christianity that I saw in Colorado. And I may be wrong. There may be, there may be some really strong believers, but I just never met one in college. So it was really tough for me because I hid my Christianity a lot. And then when things happened to my family, I just really gave up. Like I think I really became like an atheist. Really? Yeah. And I was like, there's no God. I just had so much doubt where I would pray and I'd be like, no one's listening. Like there was no Holy Spirit. Yeah. Like it was gone. Yeah. So to go from like, oh, I'm always covered by him to
filled and stuff.
Yeah. It's empty. And I was like, okay, yeah, like there's no God. I was like convinced. And so I honestly went all my college. I went with that, that like all 4 years. I was like, yeah, like I don't really believe in him. I have so much doubt. And we're almost told to like, not like question God, but it's like, if you have that doubt, like look it up, like research it and all this stuff. So I would. And then I'd go into more of a rabbit hole. Yeah. Where I was like, okay, like I don't really think he exists at all. And so it was really difficult for me. And it honestly wasn't until I graduated. Oh, okay. That I was like, okay, maybe I should start praying again. Like I would always pray, but it'd always be like prayer to be like, am I really like, is somebody really listening to me? Yeah. Like that's the kind of prayer that I would have. Like I would cry, but I would almost cry to be like, I'm just letting it out. Like I'd be praying to just let it out. I'm not praying to God. Like I'm just praying so I can just get my emotions out. And so when I moved to Dallas and I decided to make that move, I knew. I was like, I'm going to pursue a church again. Like, let me just try it one more time. Let me see. Yeah. So I started church hopping. Okay. And I found this church and it was amazing. Like, I loved the pastor. I loved the worship. I loved everything about it. And so when I discovered that, I was like, okay, let me keep going. And I went every Sunday. Oh, wow. By yourself? By myself, yeah.
That's amazing.
And it was, I kid you not, I think this church really changed my life. Because then I was like, okay, like, now you're going to pray for a purpose. Like, now that, you know, and I'd always be like, okay, I'd always pray to God and be like, I know it's not going to change with one prayer. I know it's not going to change in one day, 1 month, because it's been 4 years leading up to this point where I'm like, okay, let me try again. And so when I started, it was really tough. Like, that first month, I was like, what am I even doing? Like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm never going to get that feeling of always being with the Holy Spirit again. It's never going to happen. And I'm really glad I didn't give up, because it took about 6 months, like, from then to be like, okay, now I believe in God again. Like, now it's like, how do I make it grow? Like, how do I stay consistent with it? And so that's also been really tough. Yeah. Because it's like, some days I'm like, I don't want to pray. And then it's like, well, like, you have to pray.
Yeah. That's like one thing that I was like wondering, because we met in youth group. We actually met in youth group, and that's like really cool. Because I remember one time she was saying her testimony.
It's really hard when, like, you as a kid, you decide you believe in where you're at, everything. But when you're in college, you have a little bit more freedom. So I think that's when I was like, hey, like, I believe in Christianity. There's really nothing you can do about it. Like,
well, like, telling of like who your character is and like what you are, like you pursued God, even though like you were like completely like done with him, and you felt like he was done with you. And I think that's so cool that like he came back and like I don't know, what is it, like, charmed you, or what is the word that like he's not like he's not going to like come on to you. Like, God isn't going to come on to you. Like, he's going to like woo you in a way, and like show you that he loves you, and show you that he's like still there for you. Because I felt the same way, like going into college and like after grad, like being post grad, it's just like, it's so weird. Because now I'm like, okay, well, I don't know, this sounds so bad, but like in college I was like, oh, like whatever, like I'm going to try my best, but if I don't go to church, then it's okay. Like, I have school, I have homework, I have friends, I have all these obligations, I have work. And so now it's like, I felt like after, thank God that college comes to an end. It always does. Whether you quit or whether you graduate, it comes to an end and that chapter closes. So your mind can be like renewed and refreshed and rested. And then also like, that's kind of like, hey, like if the Lord didn't meet you there and you didn't get anything out of it, maybe after, like, God like can also come and pursue you at any 100%. Time. And I think that's so cool about your story and like a little bit about you.
Yeah. And I almost like think of myself, like, I always think of the story like the prodigal son. It's like, oh yeah, okay, like, you know, like she'll return, like she'll come back. Yeah. And I think it was really just God being like, she's gonna come back on her own terms. Because like people would always like preach, but I never like really retained it. Because I would be like, these sermons, like, they suck. Or like, I'd be like, are they really like Christian? You know, like everyone has their own, you know, their own stuff that they're going through. So I'm like, who are you to like, you know, give a sermon, or who are you to like, you know, tell me to do this or this? And so I really was stubborn with it. And I was like, no, like, I'm not going to do this. Like, if I have this doubt, like, it's not even worth it, because I'm not going to pray and then not mean it. Yeah. So I just gave up completely. Yeah. And
so you kind of go wholehearted into things.
Literally.
That's cool. I mean, that's good though. Like, that's good that you like went wholehearted. Like, you were like, whatever, I'm done. But then you went wholehearted back into like who he is and his character.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't like here and there.
You're so cool. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Like, I feel like now, like, meeting Hita after all these years, it's like, you're like so yourself now. Oh. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like you said, like a couple years ago, like I felt like you were a little bit more timid and like didn't really want to be like your full self. And it feels like you are like, I don't know, Hita's a woman now, guys. Hita is a woman. I'm a woman now too. Hey.
We're women.
Because I felt the same way. So I mean, good. You always feel like that. Like, you always feel like a little bit like, I mean, through high school and college. And then hopefully after, like, us, like, you feel a little bit more like yourself. And like, and if you have Jesus and if he comes into your life, like, you're going to feel even better. And like, not every day, but like, he's like renewing you. And I don't know, I feel a little bit more secure in myself because of him and because of like just growing up, you know? I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. And I think it's just like not like a security blanket, but it's like everybody doesn't want to feel lonely. And I think if you have God, you will never feel lonely.
Yeah.
It's like you will always have somebody to talk to. And I think it's really good. Like, you know, whether you're in any circumstance. And I think that's what really like drew me back, is I felt really lonely like in college. And then even going to Dallas and being new, I was like, oh my God, I have nobody. And then when I was starting to pursue Christianity, I was like, oh, like God is there. Like God exists. And so I'd always like just having somebody, I think is really great. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
and I think it's also leaving
you're
like
so cool.
I think it's also like leaving your small town, like you said. It's like, oh, we're more ourselves, like we're women. But it really is like like I think about myself in high school, and I'm like, I was this person who was a pushover, really. Like I was 100% like that girl that's like didn't want to step on like, you know, like eggshells. Like I would just be walking on eggshells, you know. I didn't want to offend anybody. Like
me too.
If somebody told me to
like, me too. You know it. Yeah, me too.
Because you couldn't do anything, you know, because like everybody knew. Like you talk back, it's like, oh my gosh, like she's like going through it or like whatever, you know, like there's drama being created.
And especially being from a smaller town too.
Yeah. I remember like my freshman year roommate, I was like picking what to wear for like class, and she's like, why do you care so much about what you wear? And I remember thinking like, why do I care so much? Like it's literally like snowing outside. Yeah. But it's like that mentality of like being in high school and you're like, you know, people are going to look, or like people are going to judge or something like that. And then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like no one cares. Yeah. Like literally. Nobody. And then that's one thing in college you learn is like nobody cares what you do because everybody else is thinking about themselves. Yeah. So like nobody is looking at you. Yeah. Like nobody cares what shirt you wear. Nobody cares like, you know, what brand you're wearing. Like everybody in college is like doing their own thing. Yes. So I think that was like really big for me. Like I learned, so like that's another reason is like, oh, I'm more myself, because in college I was just like, I'm gonna do me. Like if you don't like it, there's a dozen other people who I could just be friends with. Like I can just drop you and like
they'll like me. Yeah.
Which in high school you can't do. You're like, oh, I'm gonna drop you, but I have to see you every single day. Yes, the same class.
People. And your class was like a class of how many people?
Like 12 people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, oh, I don't like you. I'm like, I'll see you in 20 minutes.
Yeah. You're like, I have no other choice. Yeah. So post-grad, you had like this newfound confidence in like who you are, and I feel like you've like definitely like spread your wings and like flew for sure. Where did that take you, like post-grad? Like what are you doing now, and how has that helped you like all those years?
Yeah, so now I'm pursuing real estate in Dallas. It wasn't like an easy decision at all, because I just graduated college. And when you're graduating college, you think like your senior year, it's like, oh, it's going to be great. Like there's so much hope. You know, now people are like, oh my gosh, like what are you going to do? Like what are you going to be? And it's difficult when you don't know the answer to those questions. And people think you've had 4 years to decide. You should know, but you don't know. Like you don't. And that was really hard for me, is because I was a fifth year at that point. So I was 23 and I already changed my major my 4th year in college.
Whoa.
Yeah.
To what?
So I was nutrition.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a dietitian. And then I did about 3 internships.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. As a dietitian?
Yeah. So I did geriatrics. I did pediatrics. And then I also did lab.
Oh, wow.
And it's not that I hated them. I genuinely enjoyed it. But could I see myself doing it for the rest of my life? No. Like I really couldn't. It was almost like a shock. It was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do? Like I'm like, this is not what I signed up for.
You're like, I don't know about this. Yeah.
And then every single person I would ask them like, how is like the, you know, how is like your job? Like how is it structured? And every single one was like, oh, you know, like I get paid like salary, or like, you know, it's not something that I was in love with.
Hita started real estate in Dallas. What made you move to Dallas in the first place? Yeah, so so one of the big things was for me, like when I decided to choose to like real estate, was it was really when I was like job hunting, like straight out of college. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to get a job. Yeah. So I applied to every day. I think I applied to over like 100 jobs. Like that was my main goal. So I was like, I just need to find a job. I don't care whether it's in a lab or it's in a clinic or like it's a, you know, corporate, whatever it is, I'm going to get a job so I can just show people. And it was really difficult because I wasn't getting a job. And when I would look at the pay, it was like 33,000 or 45 or 50. And I was like, how am I supposed to make a living off of this? Like I graduated college. I should be able to get a job that's higher pay.
And that's just not the case these days. Like,
not at all.
Everyone expects you to get out of college, you to get a job, but no one really understands how hard it is to get that job. Because everybody now is fighting for that. Like, now everyone has a degree. It's not like it was 10 years ago where it was like limited amount.
Yeah.
So, it's more obtainable. And so it was really difficult. And then when I looked at that pay, I was like, I need to have passive income. Like, I need to do something for my future. So that's when I really got into like investment, like real estate. So I used to nanny for this family, and the mom was a realtor. So I was like, hey, do you want to meet up and like get lunch? And she was like, yeah, for sure. So we went, we got lunch. And I literally remember this day like changed my life because we were talking about, passive income, owning properties like rentals. And then she was like, well, you should just do real estate. Like, she just said it. And she was like, you should be a realtor. And I was like, I'm about to get a degree. I'm going to graduate in 2 months. And now you're telling me to do a job that requires no degree, just a 180-hour course online. Like, I could have done this like when I was 18.
Yeah.
And not 23.
And not wasting money on college.
Exactly.
Out
of state
there.
tuition. Like, are you kidding me? And I just remember I was like, no, like, how stupid. Like, I'm not, what a stupid question, or like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then I just left and I was like, no, like, so I just took all the information she gave me about passive income. And then I just started researching, and I thought, okay, let me look up what realtors do. And I kid you not, it was everything that I wanted in a job. Like, I wanted to be my own boss, flexible hours, because I set them. I was an independent contractor.
Yeah. And
it was unlimited pay. It wasn't like, oh, you're capped at 33,000. It was like, whatever you put in is what's going to come out of it. And I loved it. And so I really thought about it for like a month. And then I told my brother, because I tell my brother everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think this is a good idea? And if he tells me yes, then I go tell my mom. Because it has my brother's stamp of approval. Yeah. So I told my mom, and I think she was like, okay. And she was like, well, what about your degree? And I was like, I don't know, like, it's here. Like, it'll just be here chilling. Yeah. And then I told her, I was like, well, it's backup. Like, if real estate doesn't work out, like, I still have my degree to fall back on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then I basically like had, my mom and my brother's approval. So then I kind of like told my family slowly. Once I graduated, I told them. And then when it came time for like deciding where I wanted to go, it was either Albuquerque or Dallas.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. And I wanted to stay in New Mexico because I love New Mexico. I'm literally like the biggest New Mexico fan there is. Like, I'm a true American. Like, not true New Mexican, sorry.
True New Mexican.
Like, love everything about it. Like, even though it's ghetto, like, I love New Mexico and everybody knows it. Aww. And so I was like, I'm not leaving. I want to stay in Albuquerque. I didn't want to stay in Roswell because real estate is really tough here. Yeah. It's really competitive and it's very cliquey.
Yeah. Especially because people have been here for a really long time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And people have already established their careers here. Yeah. So when I was deciding where to go, I had to look at it like, what's going to make me grow the most? And it was going to be Dallas, but I was like, no. Like, I want to stay in New Mexico. And then finally my mom was like, you know what you have to do? And I was like, yeah, I know what I have to do.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I talked to another realtor in Dallas, and he was really great. And he was basically telling me the same thing, where he was like, it's your decision at the end of the day. But he's like, Dallas has one of the biggest real estate markets. So, and as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Like, I have to think about this, like, for my future, because this is why I'm choosing real estate in the first place. Yeah. So I was like, in order to grow, I have to leave. So then I chose Dallas.
Okay. That's really cool. I think Dallas, from what I'm seeing, is like growing so fast.
It's crazy.
It's big, and it's, I don't know. I think is it like reasonably priced? What would you say about like the market over there?
I would say it's reasonably priced if you want to live outside of Dallas, 100%. Because you're able to get a home that's, like 2,500 square feet for under 400,000, which is insane. Like, or even under 300,000, you're able to get that. It's achievable. Like, if you're, and if you go like more north, then you could hit the 200,000s and get that house. Whereas if you were to go more inside of Dallas, you're looking at like 600, 700,000. So it just really depends on where you're looking. Like, if you're going to live in like Irving or downtown Dallas, we can forget about it. Like, you're going to pay 900,000 and up. Like, you don't have a choice. Yeah. But I would say for somebody who wants to move to Dallas, like, start with living outside and then move more inward, like, especially for a person in their 20s. Yeah. But it's 100%. Like, it's affordable.
It's achievable.
like for 90 days, I just followed him around.
Yeah.
And he would be like, this is how you show homes. This is how you talk to realtors. This is how you write contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just show me everything. And I thought, okay, like this is good. But I almost felt like I was living through him in a way during that time. Cause I was like not really going to get my own clients. I was just learning. And it was good. But then after a while, I was like, okay, I've kind of learned everything I have to. Now I have to go out and do my own. And that's when it really started to hit. That's when I was like, oh my God, like maybe real estate isn't for me. Because during March, when I started to like go talk to clients on my own or go try to get deals on my own, I couldn't. I couldn't find one deal. I couldn't find one person who wanted to work with me. I couldn't find one person who wanted to sell their home. And it was just hard because you're like, well, I've been learning. Why hasn't it been paying off?
Yeah.
I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? So that was like, oh my, I at that point it was 3 months of no pay. Yeah. So then I went into April, no pay. May, no pay. And it starts to hit because you're like, am I supposed to even do real estate? Yeah. And so I would say like March, April, May were probably most like they're the hardest times of my life. Like I cried every day. I was so depressed because it's not like, oh, your job defines you, but in your 20s, like when you're doing real estate and you're trying to prove to everybody that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is. Like your job is your life.
So it's really hard to prove yourself. And 5 months went by and you were like not paid and
no pay.
You were just trying to get your first client and stuff like that. Okay.
So at that point I was like, okay, well, I almost got embarrassed and I started to lose a lot of confidence. Yeah. Because I wasn't making anything. Like no one was trusting me and that really affected the way I would talk to clients after that. So my voice would crack or I would not look like I knew what I was talking about, even though I did. Like even around family, like we go hang out and someone would bring up like one topic and I would keep my mouth shut. And then people would look at me like, why is she talking? And I'm like, I feel like I don't have the confidence to even talk about this. And so many times I'll be sitting there and I do know. Yeah. But I don't want to open my mouth because like I'm like, oh, maybe I'll ramble or maybe I won't say it in a clear enough way and they'll try to like overpower me or something. Yeah. And that was really tough because then even my family started to like not believe in me.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, yeah. And so it was really tough, you know, because I had a really good like
support system.
A very good support system. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because if you don't believe in yourself, that support system means nothing. And because then they're also going to be like, well, like, is she like actually going to make it? Like, you know, and so I started having people in my inner circle like be like, talk, you know, just gossip about me, or it's like, oh, she's just wasting her time, or oh, yeah, and I've heard it all. I've literally heard it all. It's like, oh, she's wasting her time, or you know, she couldn't get a job out of college, so now she's doing this, or you know, she's never gonna sell a house. Yeah, like when is she gonna get a real job? Like all these things. It's like, oh, when is her dream gonna be over?
Some people always had something to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I had somebody be like, oh, playtime's over. Like, you know, like when does it actually begin? I was like, what does this mean? Like, people are ruthless out here. And so it was really difficult because it's like, why doesn't no one believe in me? And so, but I had 2 people who really believed in me, and it was my mom and my brother. And they really, really kept me going. Like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be pursuing real estate anymore. Like, they never once were like, you know, you're wasting your time, you're wasting money, like, you know, get a real job now. Like, if like playtime's over, like, you know, whatever it is, like they were like, no, you can do it. Like, you're gonna make it one day.
That's so good. Yeah. I was gonna ask, I was like, were they the ones, like, did they support you?
100%.
Oh my gosh.
It was definitely my mom, my brother. They kept me going. I don't think they ever once talked like anything bad about me. And I had a really good support system. I really did. But those doubts really start to creep in and you can feel it. Like you can hear the little comments that are being made and it's like, oh, like how many houses have you sold? And it's not like they're genuinely asking. It's like, oh, like we know the answer is 0. You know? Like they know.
So mean.
Yeah. It's
my gosh.
Or it's like, oh, like I bet your business is slow. Or like, you know, like those questions, like they really hurt. And even if they don't mean it in like
like trying to hurt you.
Yeah, it still hurts.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I'm depressed and I'm making no money and I'm in my 20s and I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
and I just graduated college.
Yeah. It's like those things hit. Like they really, really do. And then you want to be like, well, I'm not you're like, I'm not sensitive, or you're like, I can suck it up. And so you're like, don't cry. Yeah. Really inside, you're like, it is. Like, so it was like a tough time, I would say. And then around like June, I was like, I have to like start doing something. I can't just be at home on my laptop trying to talk to older leads, like, and not have face-to-face contact. Because then I just started to be like, okay, let me just do phone calls. So I don't have to like see anybody, or I don't, you know, I can build my confidence that way, like through the phone. And that was fine, but it didn't do anything for my business because those leads suck. Like they don't do anything. They're just older leads from 6 months ago. They've either bought a home where they don't even know who you are, and they don't even like they've already found one, or they don't want to buy, they don't want to sell, whatever it is. Yeah, like they're done. Like they're done with you, and for you to reach out to them 6 months later, they don't care. So
they're like, whatever.
Yeah. But I was like, no, I need to do this for like to build my confidence up. And that wasn't working. And I was like, I'm not going to go door knocking. I'm not going to do cold calling anymore. So what is it? What do I do? And I started to see all these young people do real estate, like online. And it was like, oh, this girl sold this home. This girl sold this home. And I was like, well, maybe I should start doing social media. But I was really hesitant because my team leader, he hated social media.
Really?
Yeah. Because he was in his 60s.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he didn't believe in the power of social media. He just thought like, this is clout, but you're not going to get anything. He literally was like, he would tell like people like at his gym, like all these like gym bros, they take videos, and he's like, do you actually make money off taking videos? Like he would go to them in person.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like he would call people out for doing social media. So I was like, well, I don't want him to call me out for doing social media, especially if I work, you know, kind of underneath him. Yeah. I was like, no, I can't do it. And then finally I was like, well, screw it. I'm an independent contractor. You're not even really my boss. I can do whatever I want. I was like, if he finds out, whatever, like I'm gonna do it. Like what he's doing works for him, that's great. But if it doesn't work for me, then I have to look at something else. So I started to just find people on social media who lived in Dallas who were basically the same age as me. And I was like, hey, like, do you want to go to lunch? Like I would just DM them. I'd be like, hey, like, let's go to lunch. I'd love to connect. And luckily this one guy reached out to me, and his name was Jose Rodriguez. And oh my gosh, I love this guy. Like I love Jose. Like
thank you, Jose.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. Like you changed my life. Yeah. Love. He really like he was really nice. He met up with me. We went to go get brunch. And I don't know how many followers he has. I think he has like 40 or 60K. I'm not really sure. But I reached out to a lot of realtors, but he's the only one that wanted to give me advice. Because a lot of people, like, if you're not going to join their team, or if you're not going to benefit them, like, they're not going to take you out to lunch. They're not going to
help you.
Yeah. Or it's like, even if you paid up for lunch, they're not going to waste their time with you. Yeah. That's money, that's time lost for them. And he met up with me, and he was 21. Oh, and wow. And I was 24, so I'm like, oh my gosh, person 4 years younger than me, like, giving me advice. Like, that's just a pill I had to swallow. And I'm like, you know, like, at the age of 21, he's here. And I was like, I'm trying to get to where he is. But I was like, whatever, like, it doesn't matter. Like, age is just a number. So, you know, we met up and we chatted, and he told me, he's like, if you don't do real estate, if you don't promote your real estate business online, he was like, you can just kiss your job goodbye. Like, you can kiss your career goodbye. Like, in real estate. It really, you have to pursue social media at this point. Whether it be like you posting every day, or just posting for your family or your friends, people have to know you do real estate. Yeah. And that's the best way to reach everybody. Okay. So, he told me what he does. He told me what equipment he uses and everything. And then I thought, okay, like, let me order this stuff. And so I did. I ordered it. And I just started messing around with it. I tried around the house, and I thought, okay, let me go film my first model home. Let's just see how it goes. And it was trash. Like, this video was so bad. I look back at it and I was like, oh my god, it was awful. It was the worst video. But I just kept going, and I kept posting and posting, and it was really hard because I was like, people probably think this is cringe, like,
or I'm annoying.
Yeah, or I'm annoying. That was my number one thing.
I feel that way too. Exactly. I'm sorry. You can't stop us. You can't stop us.
Yeah, you can't stop us.
I'm like, someone's gonna watch, even if it's our mom.
Yeah. Dude, my mom wouldn't even like my post sometimes. I'm like, bruh, like my post. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then she wouldn't like it. I'm like my post.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you like discovered this new like tool that you're going to use. Yeah. And what happened from there?
So then I started just posting consistently. I started filming model homes. And as a person who would never post on social media, like I would post, like, every 2 years I'd make one post on Instagram. So like people knew, like, oh, she's alive. Oh, so to go from that to posting every single day, yeah, you feel like you're annoying. Like, you really, really do. And I used to post, like, before I started to every day, I'd post like a day in the life of a newbie realtor. Yeah. And I did those. And that was really just to prove to people, like, hey, I work. Like, I actually...
Like, I'm doing something.
Yeah, it wasn't really even for, like... It was for fun, but I'd also be, like, trying to show people, like, I get up, I work. And that was, you know, one of the points I was trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know... But I'll get into that later. But, yeah, it was really difficult. And so... I consistently started to post, and it wasn't a lot of likes. Like, it'd be, like, 4 likes, 6 likes. And you're just, like... I put effort into this video. Why isn't it paying off? But that doesn't matter, because... Just because you post once doesn't mean you're going to get 1 million likes. It's that consistency what matters.
Yeah.
So I think I kept up with it for about like 3.5 months. And when I talked to Jose, he said he got his first client after 7 months of posting on social media.
Wow, 7 months.
So I thought, okay, if you can wait till 7 months, like, you know, that's good. And so I kept posting. I luckily got my first client through social media within 2.5 months.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I really think it's because I started to look at other people's social media, and I thought, why are they getting these likes? What are they doing? And then I just copied it, really. And I just put it on my page.
Yeah.
So, and I also started to follow every single person that my friends knew or that I knew with my last name. I just followed every single person.
Yeah.
Because my name is, like, pretty big.
Uh-huh.
So I just did it. And I think through that, people knew me. And through that, it really just worked, because a lot of my clientele is, you know, people with my last name. And I wasn't expecting that. But, you know, they'll just reach out to me through Instagram. And they're like, hey, we're looking for a home. Like, can you help us? And it's like,
That's
yes.
so cool.
And so it's good because, you know, in March, I was chasing these clients who were just, they didn't even want to work with me. They didn't even know who I was, to being like, oh, like, you want to work with me? Like, that's...
Wow.
Yeah.
That's such an honor. Oh, I would cry. Did you cry? Like, when you got your first client and stuff? I
definitely was like, I didn't cry, but I was definitely just like, I just was like, oh, I made it. Like, I was like, this is what all the driving and the constantly posting and, you know, like, it paid off. Like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, it was a small little milestone. It's like, okay, I got 1 client. But it meant everything.
Yeah.
Like, to a person who's just starting out, it was like, okay, like, this commission may be small, but it's something. Like, it's, you know, whatever it is, money's money, and you'll do anything, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What a story, guys. I'm like, if that doesn't show, like, what is the word? Oh my gosh, no words are coming into my brain. But, like, if that doesn't show your, like, perseverance, like, I don't know what does, because, like, I think that's, like, something we can all, like, learn from this and from your stories. Like, you have to pursue and keep going even when it's hard. And I told Hita before, I was like even the podcast, I feel like it's just kind of, it is discouraging. And, like, posting and, like, pursuing stuff on social media, it's like, I'm so sorry, like, you guys have to see this every day and see my face every day, but, like, it does matter, and you reach different people. So that's like the good thing is, like, the power of social media is so cool. Like, it can go anywhere across anyone can see this. So I remember Hita, like, seeing your stories and stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know she was a realtor. Like, that is so cool. And then I was watching all those videos. I wanted to let you know, because I'd be like, what houses are I'm like, I'm in nowhere, like, ready to buy a house, but I was, like, watching all of your stuff, and I was like,
I appreciate it.
I would say that, like, you were, like, one of the people that inspired me, like, from Roswell, because I was like, who's, like, someone in Roswell that's, like, doing social media? And there's a couple people, and, like, you were definitely one of them. And I actually got a job in real estate, like, working under, like, a lady. I wasn't gonna do it. I just wanted to do social media. This is what I wanted to do. And she said, it was mostly, like, the real estate side, and I was like, girl, I don't know about this. So that tie had to be cut really quickly. So, because I was like, I'm gonna pursue social media, and I wanted to do it for a company, but if it's not allowed, I'm gonna pursue it for myself right now, and we're gonna show other people off and what they do. And I think that is so cool. Like, your story is, like, so inspiring. I'm like, oh, and I saw it too, because I worked for someone who was, it's okay. I worked for someone who, like, she had a lot of years of experience and a lot of clients, big clients, would make a lot of money. And like, I never knew, like, what it took to start to get to that point. So I only saw, like, the kind of, like, established realtor or real estate agent. And, never seen someone starting out. And so you were like the first person that I like reached out to, and I was like, hey, I don't know like what to do for social media. We didn't even make it that far, but like, but I was like, this is so cool. Like someone my age, like around my age is like doing like starting something from the ground up. And I think this is so cool. Like what's in your 20s is like, you can start something, like anything. And who cares? Who cares?
Literally, who cares? Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's really important. Is like everyone sees the fakeness, like you know, on social media, it's like, oh, like they're successful or they did this. But like when you scroll more down, you really see like, oh, like they weren't successful in the beginning, or like, hey, they had to like struggle to get here. And you know, it's like that's what makes it worth it, though. It's like I didn't just get it like this. It's like I put in the time, I put in the effort of 6 months of constantly going, and now I'm finally where I'm at. It's like I'm so grateful to be in this position, but it's like this is last year's work. Like this is me like getting up every day, trying to, you know, just prove to myself that's like, okay, you can do it, keep going. So you know, it's like I applaud you for doing this podcast because like putting yourself out on social media is so tough, and it's like
you understand.
Yeah, no, I do, and especially in your 20s, like people are like, is this what she's really doing? Like, this is her, like, you know? And you're like, yes, this is really what I'm doing. Like, you have a problem with this? Like, it's definitely difficult.
Yeah. I think you've done really well. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's really cool. What you do is, like, really cool. I just wanted to applaud you and, like, say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Hita. Like, I don't know. Things are like changing, and this is the year of change.
This is the year of change.
Yeah, my friend has told me that, and I'm like, it is. It's the year of change for everybody. And we are going to ask some advice. We're going to see what you can do at any age, basically, but preferably like at like our age right now. What are some like suggestions or tips in buying a house? Like, what should you look for? And yeah.
So I would say, like, to a person who's like looking to buy a home, I would definitely say first and foremost is like build your credit. Like that's like the biggest thing. You are not going to be able to get a home if your credit is not good. You know, I would definitely say like shoot for the 700s, because like you can get a home for, you know, if your credit's like 680. But your interest is going to be high, and you're going to probably have to put more towards down payment, or you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. So definitely try to get in the 700s. I'd also say, you know, buying a home is not for everybody, like in their 20s. Like maybe you have to buy a home in your 30s, but just be financially stable. Like I feel like as a realtor, like so many people are like, oh, she's just trying to sell me a home and she doesn't care about me. That's not true. Like you have to find yourself the right realtor to put in that time, and we're not trying to sell you a home so you can be bankrupt or so you have to refinance or something, you know, like, or you have to sell your home in like 2 years. Like, are you able to afford it? And really look at your life, and then look at how much you pay for rent, and look at how much a house is. And if you're able to make that sacrifice, then that's great. Like, do it, but don't feel like you're in a rush just because everybody in their 20s is buying a home. Like, everybody's on a different path.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And then look at where you are. Like currently, if you think you're going to move Mexico, well, you're not attracting people in their 20s. You're attracting people who are not the best. You know, like we're not the best renters, or you may be getting like travel nurses, but that's rare to get at. You know, so look at the market that you're in as well, and then decide.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the advice I would give.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because our lives are constantly changing in your 20s, so it's like something that you can't really control. And if you can like avoid a lot of heartbreak, and it's a lot of peer pressure. I'm sure people feel like, oh, I'm young, I'm starting out, but I have money and like I should just buy a house, but you're not really fully committed or don't know what it takes. Like you shouldn't jump right into it. But yeah, that's really cool. Also, like building your credit, like what have been some of like the best ways in building your credit that you've seen?
I would say the number one thing for a person to start in their 20s, if they're genuinely looking to buy a home, is talk to a lender. Like the minute somebody's like, oh, I have terrible credit, I instantly hook them up with my lender. And I'm like, talk to her because she can help you better than I can. And she will go through, you know, all of these things. So she'll go with like, okay, like how, your credit card debt. Like, have you been paying it off? How has it been on time? I would say that also make sure your loans are like paid off. Or make sure you have a consistent pace, like where because your debt to income ratio is probably the biggest thing for you to buy a home. So you really need to make sure that you have a significant amount of like your student loans debt, paid off, or you're able to really, take on that housing debt as well. Like if you have car payments and you have college and then you're adding on a house and let's say you own a business. And so it's like, how much can you take on financially to, to manage that? So I would say look at that for credit wise, like what to look for in a home.
Yeah. What to look for in a home.
Yeah. I would say definitely you have to look at the 5 things when you're touring a home. And that would be, your HVAC system, your plumbing, your electrical, your foundation, and then your, did I say foundation already? Okay. Oh my God, why can't I think of this? Hold on.
HVAC, plumbing,
foundation.
Electrical. Yeah,
and then your heating and cooling, which is HVAC, I guess. If I think of the other one, I will think about it.
It's okay. There's no pressure.
I would say your walls, so like is there water damage also? Like I would add that in there. So those are things to really look for. Like when you're walking into a home, you can tell right away. You're like, oh, there's foundation issues. Like you could have your spouse stand there and you could stand here, and if they're like unleveled, well, you can tell like there's foundation issues. That's probably the biggest thing you need to look for when you're looking for a home. Because if the foundation is messed up, you're not getting that loan approved. And then you have to get a foundation engineer out there. Okay, well, you're adding that cost on. Let's say there's foundation issues. I've had clients who've had $25,000 worth of foundation issues, and the seller's like, well, we're not going to pay for it. It's like, well, what are they supposed to do? Like, that's $25,000 that they have to pay before they can get their loan approved. So that's not worth it. So then they're like, okay, drop this. Let's go look for another home. They don't really realize that you as a realtor have put in already 15 days worth of work into that home. Like, you've signed the offers, the contracts you've negotiated, you found them the home, you drove to that home at least twice, you've done the home inspection. Okay, that's a lot of work for you to be like, we're going to start over.
Yeah.
And so that's 15 days of work down the drain.
Yeah.
So, and that's with that's with a pre-owned home, not really with like new construction. So that's a really, really major thing. Another big advice I can give, whether you have pre-owned or you're buying new construction, get a home inspection done. It doesn't matter who the builder is. It doesn't matter if the house is built in the 1980s or if it's built in 2025. You need to get a home inspection done. Because those builders out there, they don't care. Like they only cover a certain amount of warranties. Yeah, they're going to tell you, like, they're going to try to persuade you and be like, our house is top of the line. We do this inspection. We get a foundation engineer out there. It doesn't matter. It's $300. Get a home inspector out there, because they're going to, every single time I've had a client, they have at least found 5 different things wrong with the home. Whether it be, like the carpet is uneven. Like, oh, like they used a different thing of carpet here and here. Well, you can't tell, but they can tell. Or, it's like, oh, the what is it called? The grouting. They haven't, grouted the tile correctly. Or it's like, oh, they haven't, like there's a splatter of paint on the tile. Or it's like, oh, they didn't use the right kind of windows for this. Or like the window seal is broken. Like those things matter when you're moving into a new home. Those things, they really do. You think they're minor things, but if you're going to buy a home, buy where it's perfect. Like, why would you take on that role? It's not your job. Yeah. It's their job. So like those things really, really matter. Like I've seen like roofs that my team sponsor would take me to, and he's like, look at it, and it's disgusting. It's like, what kind of builder builds these kinds of roofs? And it, so I always recommend get an inspection done.
Get an inspection.
Get a home inspection, get a roof inspection, anything you need to cover yourself for insurance purposes, get it done.
Okay.
100%.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
I'm excited to own a home one day.
Yeah.
You recently purchased a home yourself too.
I did purchase a home.
How's that been? And I've seen a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. I always thought as a realtor, like it's super easy to buy a home, but being on the other side, that's tough. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, it really gave me a new perspective, which I'm grateful for, like, to be put in the client's shoes and always have the lender ask you, like, hey, you need to submit this, you need to submit this. Because when the lender tells me, like, hey, your client needs to submit this, I just tell them. And they get frustrated because they're like, how much do I have to submit?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, well, like, you're buying a home. Like, you know, like, it's fine.
A lot.
But when I was on the other side and every day I got the phone call, like, I need this, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm annoyed. I'm like, I've submitted this to you like 500 times.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't judge my clients so much. It was really crazy to like be on the other side and being the client and also being the realtor. So like negotiating for yourself was definitely a little interesting, but it really taught me a lot more when it comes to, you know, owning that home and it really being like one of the biggest financial decisions you will ever make in your entire life, and to know what that is, what that reflects on the client and the emotions they're going through, because they're always like, oh, we just want to get to closing. And for you, it's different as a realtor because you're like, you want to get to closing so the deal is done, you get that paycheck and your clients are happy. But for the client, it's like, I want to be done. I don't want to submit everything. I just want to get the keys and I just want to move in. And to be on both sides was really tough. But to finally get those keys, that feeling, it's like you want to have your client feel that same way. Like you want to be like, oh, I did that for them. And so it was really great. It's really stressful. I bet. To work and to like purchase a home. Yeah. And I was also getting my New Mexico. Well, I wasn't getting my New Mexico real estate license, but I was setting everything up with New Mexico. I was stressed and trying to film at the same time. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All of those jobs. I was so tired every day. But it's really nice to, I would say to anybody in their 20s is like, if you have the ability, don't rent. Like if you're spending over $2,500 in rent, buy 100% buy a home, because you don't even know, like you're just giving your money away to somebody else when you could be putting that towards, you know, your investment for the future, for your retirement. You could be building equity that you could pull and buy another home from. Yeah. So that's something I would recommend. And that's the reason really I bought a home is I refused to pay rent. Like I was like, I'm preaching to everybody constantly every day. It's like, don't rent. Well, I'm a hypocrite if I just go and I just rent an apartment, you know? And so to find the deal that I did, I was really grateful for. That's good. Now I love being a homeowner. Yeah. It's so nice to have like your own space and I can do whatever I want. If I want to eat dinner at 9:30, who's there to stop me? Nobody.
Just try and stop her.
Yeah. I can get Chipotle at 10 p.m.
That's good.
Ain't nobody stopping me. I would say that if I had to give advice to realtors, especially new realtors, who are like young like me, or whether you're young or not, I would say
just starting out.
Yeah, just starting out. I would say, get up. Like that was my motivation this entire year, was like get up. Like my first year of starting. And I really took it to heart. Like every day, it's like get up and work. Get up and
like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah,
nobody wants to work these days.
Yeah, nobody wants to work these days. Oh yeah, and that was honestly
funny.
Yeah, that was me. Like from like my first year, like year or month 3, 4, and 5. I didn't want to work. Like nothing was happening. Like I wasn't getting any deals, any leads. Like nobody called me to like buy a home, you know? So that was tough. I was like, I don't want to work. Like this sucks. Yeah. And I think after that, when I started doing social media, it was really just like, get up every day, go film homes, like take videos, post them, you know, even if you don't see results, just get up the next day. You know, there's going to be so many times where a deal falls through. You know, my first deal fell through 5 days before closing. 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
We put in 2 months worth of work, and 5 days before that guy was like, I don't want to buy a home. I
would have lost my mind.
Yeah. I went home. I bought Chipotle. I ate. I cried. The next day, I got up. You have to get up. It doesn't matter. If you don't get up, you failed. And I think that was really big for me, is like when I was 6 months in, I had made no money in real estate. I was like, I feel like a failure. And I had someone tell me like, you're not a failure until you give up. and
yeah, that's true.
And before that, you're just trying. Like you're still trying. But the day you say I'm done is the day you become a failure and you gave up. Yeah. You know? So I just kept going, and I tell every realtor I'm like that I see or that I meet that asks me for advice, I'm like, you have to be willing to be your biggest motivator, and you have to get up every day when you have to, it's not even like, oh, physically waking up. It's like, get up after every deal, after every phone call, after every single time somebody's like, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to sell this home. I don't want to buy right now. Okay, fine. Hang up the phone, take a minute, take 10 seconds and get up again and go. Like that's the only way you're going to be successful in this career. Nobody's going to be there to hold your hand. Nobody is going to be there to be like, oh, you got this, keep going. No, you are your own motivator in real estate.
So cool.
Yeah. So that's like my biggest thing is just get up after every transaction. Even if you've had a good transaction, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, like once you close that feeling, oh, great, like I've closed. That doesn't mean you stop working for the whole month.
Yeah.
You get up again and you go get the next deal. You post again to hopefully have somebody else respond to like that video or that post or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you don't stop. So
that's good.
Yeah. If you're not willing to get up, don't do real estate. Don't.
Yeah, don't. That's good.
You gotta pick yourself up in this business, and it's tough. And I'm still learning. You know, I've only been in real estate for a year, and I've learned so much in that year. You know, I've cried so much, and there's been days where I don't get up. You know, like I'll wake up at 10 or 10:30, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, like I'll just chill here, and it's like, for what? Like,
yeah.
And those are the days where I realized where I was like, nobody is there to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's telling me to, like, you know, nobody's firing me. And I took that for granted. I really did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, whatever. Like, I'll, you know, but then you realize you're like, I'm wasting time. I'm wasting energy. You know, like, I'm not really doing real estate. I'm just wasting time hoping something will happen. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And you really have to change your mindset on that because you have to be able to be self-disciplined.
Okay.
So. Yeah,
that's really good. That's oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think we've learned a lot here today. And like, I am like, I'm learning a lot of stuff from you. Like, just like motivational stuff. And like, just keep pursuing and persisting through it all. Like, because you don't know where it's going to lead. You don't know what it's going to get you. And I don't know. This has been a very encouraging podcast, I would say. Like, one of the most encouraging ones, especially like for people our age and people's just starting out and people maybe just
100%
coming into like what could be, you know? So, it's so good.
Yeah.
Hey, Hita, thank you for being here today.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
I'm so happy that we got to talk and like reconnect. I don't think the last time we've talked was like probably like 2017 or something. It's been almost like 10 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
I feel like maybe like 2017, 2018. Yeah. When did you graduate?
2018.
Okay, yeah. So it's probably been 2017.
You graduated 2017?
2019.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were younger.
Yes. So I'm like,
oh my
crazy.
Gosh.
What a cool mashup. You guys are going to see this and you're going to be like, what?
Because I didn't really, like, know you. Like, I know you, like, through your mom.
Yeah,
because your mom was, like, mega sports camp, and I did cooking.
Yeah.
And your mom was, like, my coach. And I was like, I love this girl. Because you would, like, sneak me, like, extra, like, bananas or, like, whatever it was. And I was like, this is, love her.
She's cool. My mom is fun. She's a fun lady. Hey, would you be interested in praying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Did you want, it could just be for what we've learned today or the viewers or real estate, anybody buying a house something, I don't know, just along the lines.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want me to pray or would you like to pray?
No, I can pray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Hita. Do you want to hold hands?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
My hands might be ashy.
No, that's okay.
Dear God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you that, you know, we're able to like come here and have this opportunity where we can talk and, you know, just catch up on old times. We pray that what we've done here today really reflects on who we are and that we can just be authentic and genuine. And, you know, even if it reaches one person, that's one person that whose life we have changed or that moment and maybe it, you know, means something to them. I pray that for me and Caitlin as we are in our 20s and we're battling this, you know, we're battling this field where everybody kind of knows what they want to do or who they are. And we're just kind of here like, you know, trying to prove to people that we also know what we're doing. And we pray that as we are trying to prove to ourselves that we don't get caught up in also trying to prove to others that we are just, we know what we're trying to do and that we give the glory to you and we don't give the glory to social media or for others' praise or, you know, our parents' praise, but we give it to you wholeheartedly. And whatever step that we choose to go in the future is for you and you only. And that it reflects, you know, your glory and what you have in store for us. And even if we don't know where we're going as of this moment, we know that it's in your hands and that we're able to have peace in that. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Hita. I really appreciate you. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Oh.
And follow. Okay, wait. Plug all of your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Plug all of her
Yeah.
stuff.
So where do I look in this camera?
You can look in this one, or you can look in this one, yeah.
Oh, okay. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Buck the Realtor. So it's BHAKTA _Realtor. You can also just put in my name, Hita, Heeta. It's not super common.
Very unique name.
Yeah. So you'll definitely find me.
Uh-huh.
So, or you could call me. My number is literally everywhere on social media. So you can call me at 575-420-2803. So even if you have a question about real estate or you want to be a realtor or you're looking to, you know, just get advice on buying a home or selling, like just call me. You know, I'd love to talk to you. I'm not going to try to make you into a client. I'm really here to help people. So yeah, just reach out.
She can be your Jose Rodriguez.
Yeah, I can be your Jose Rodriguez.
She can be your Jose Rodriguez. Shout out Jose Rodriguez.
Shout out Jose, literally.
We'll put a picture of him.
Yeah.
We can put him. We'll tag him.
Love him. He probably doesn't even know that I praise him this much, but I do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love you.
It's
Jose.
always those first people that give you an opportunity.
I think those people don't even realize what impact they've made, and then you go and you tell them, and they're like, wow.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Love you, friends.
Gosh.
I'm like, and I made a new friend. We reconnected.
Yeah. I mean, we were just like church, you know, like we just knew each other through church.
Yeah.
But never, just like acquaintances.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Hey, love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.